Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we're going to talk about the major heel turn on WWE Raw.
A match ending was botched on last night's Raw.
We will tell you why WWE is suddenly pushing Ricochet.
And Finn Balor is your new United States champion. I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
And later on today, we will have a second news video coming your way as well, talking all kinds of different things, including the Cain Velasquez incident, WWE not understanding what the word unification means, and a lot more. So check out that later on. But we're going to kick things off by talking a bit of Raw, because there was a major heel turn. Well, I mean, there was two major heel turns on the show, actually, but we'll get to the other one later on. The biggest one is Edge, who had his big segment following up from last week. Of course, last week he came down and went, hey, I want to wrestle at WrestleMania. Let me do that face that I do in every single promo, because it's, he used the word phenomenal, of course, amongst other things in that. So naturally, everyone went, oh, it's either Cody Rhodes or AJ Styles. It was AJ Styles. AJ interrupted him this week, said, I accept for WrestleMania. Edge was a bit of a prick and said to him, I want the Bulldog version of AJ Styles. I don't want Omos's bitch. Went in for a handshake. Before they could shake hands, Edge kicked his ass. He kicked his ass, basically. It culminated in a low blow and a concerto.
Two concertos.
Yeah, a double concerto. A concerto to close things off. So yeah, Edge now playing the heel for the first time since coming back to WWE in January 2020. I guess you could finally say that somebody has sent him to a place he didn't want to go.
Yeah, we had grumpy Edge heading towards last year's WrestleMania, didn't we? But he wasn't quite full heel. Good. Do you know what? Good. I'm glad we've got this version of Edge, because it's the one I prefer, if I'm perfectly honest. Don't get me wrong, I'm ecstatic that he's back wrestling, and wrestling regularly as well. But he's just better being a knobhead, isn't he? And I think it works for the dynamic of this match. Don't get me wrong, I think they could have both gone in there, had a nice hearty handshake and say, hey, I'll see you at WrestleMania, and then train loads and then just had a wrestling match. And that would have been fine. But this dynamic makes the match far more interesting. And it is a dream match, let's be honest. You know, we talked about this before. When Edge first returned and said, I can properly wrestle again, no one was like, well, can't wait to see him fight The Miz. Like, we've had him face Rollins. That ended up, it went a bit awry, but the conclusion of that, Saudi Arabia was absolutely stupendous, in the words of WWE.
Over and over and over again on current programming. It made sense to bring him back as a face, because he'd been gone so long. Yeah, you can't. All that stuff. You can't immediately come back and go, hey, this guy you've missed for ages, he's a dickhead now. But yeah, like two and a bit years later, it's perfect. Traditionally as well, he's found more success as a heel than as a face. So yeah, it's a more natural role for him as well. And I, for one, hope it means we get less spotlight promos in the middle of the ring, because I'm not a fan of those, but I might be a fan of this.
Yes, very excited.
And the match will be awesome.
Edge Styles at WrestleMania. Yes, please. This is what it's all about. Continuing to the conversation about last night's Monday Night Raw, there was a major botch regarding the ending of a match. RK Bro faced off against the Street Profits. It was very entertaining, high-flying, usual sort of thing. And then the ending came. Orton set up for his RKO, and because he set up for his RKO, he didn't hit it. Montez Ford reversed it, managed to hit a big frog splash, and then Orton sort of rolled towards the ropes, and Montez Ford covered him. He was selling his shoulder as well. He sort of went to put his foot on the ropes, didn't quite make it, but Angelo Dawkins pushed it off the bottom of the ropes anyway, just to make sure. The referee called the match. Apparently, according to Sean Ross Sapp, amongst others, that's not how that match was supposed to end. Thankfully, the subsequent reports seem to suggest that Randy Orton has only tweaked his shoulder, which is really good, because he's not only got a big title match next week, the triple threat for the Raw Tag Team titles, but also you sense, looking at the calendar, he's probably going to have a feud with Riddle when they split, when they inevitably don't win the tag team titles, which will be one of the biggest matches on WrestleMania and one of the best built.
Yeah, for sure. Like when Orton rolled away after taking the frog splash, you could hear and see him saying the F-U-C-K word as he was clutching his shoulder. So you knew something was up, but it's good to hear that it's not that bad, seemingly. Yeah, with regards to the finish, I don't like this whole, when something goes wrong, there's a rather toxic culture on social media celebrating these things and going, ha ha, look at the botch. I hate that. I think it's pretty loathsome across the board. It's an honest mistake. It happens even to guys as tenured and experienced as Randy Orton. Street Fighters? Yeah, like it's a Sega Genesis. The Street Profits picked up the victory there.
Actually works in the storyline as well. They're spiraling.
Yeah.
They can't work as a team, RK Bro, anymore. And Orton's going to snap when eventually they don't win the tag titles back.
Exactly. There you go.
Thank you.
Yes.
I love him so much.
Ricochet.
By the way, my missus does not like me saying shoosh. Not going down well in my household for some reason.
Yeah. I wonder why that is.
Maybe I'll buy her the t-shirt.
Oh my goodness. Right. Ricochet. If you're wondering why he's had a particularly strong focus on SmackDown as of late, it's because he is being listed as the number 2 babyface, the number 2 singles babyface on the brand at the moment. This is according to PW Insider's Mike Johnson. He is, of course, behind Drew McIntyre in that pecking order. But if you're wondering about people like Shinsuke Nakamura and The New Day, who you might think maybe a little bit higher, they're actually listed as tag teams. Tag wrestlers internally, so that's
right.
That's why they're maybe potentially. But yeah, Ricochet, he's been feuding with Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Yeah, for most of the year. He beat Sheamus this week in like an 11-minute match. That kind of ballpark, which in a more conventionally booked promotion you would look at and go, okay, he's won the feud, he's going to do something bigger now. But no such thing as guarantees in the wacky world of Vince McMahon. So maybe this will result in something greater for him down the line. I think he's not had the best of main roster runs. No. It's fair to be said. Ricochet has never struck me as a guy who's particularly upset with his role, regardless. Like on social media, he always sticks up for the company when people say these things. So, hey, he seems like a dude who's happy regardless, so fair play to him. But I think it's safe to say they could use him to do a little bit more. I'm not saying he needs to win the world title tomorrow or whatever.
I am.
He is. But, you know, just feature him more in, like, fun athletic contests where he can be himself and give him an opportunity to get over on merit because he's not really been given that. But the Sheamus stuff's been good. So, hey.
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes that when you said he was the number 2 babyface, and I was like, uh-oh, that's not a good sign. Yeah. Number 1 babyface, by the way, tried to decapitate someone, so.
With a sword.
There you go. Look, I'm a huge fan of Ricochet, obviously. I wish that they would use him better. I hope this is the start of them doing that sort of thing. If they've somehow managed to make it so he's number 2, because like you say, they put Shinsuke in a tag team and they've done all the other stuff, then, I mean, you shouldn't have Kofi and Big E as just a tag team. You should have Big E as a contender for the world title, but
they were never behind.
There you go. But yeah, fingers crossed this means a sustained push for Ricochet, maybe even a mid-card title run. But not from Sami Zayn just yet, because I love him as IC champion. And it's going to be Johnny Knoxville quite possibly next. Speaking of mid-card titles, Finn Balor won his first ever United States Championship last night. A bit of a surprise that I always just assumed he had won it before, but no, it was IC title.
Everyone gets a turn.
Indeed. He's obviously been Universal Champion as well, but he defeated Damian Priest in a really quite enjoyable match on last night's Raw. Sort of 10-minute back and forth contest in the end. He got out of the finisher of Priest, and hit him with the coup de grace after going for it numerous times. 1, 2, 3. Finn Balor is your new United States champion, and Damian Priest is a bell end because he attacked him after the bell. He turned heel, and they are presumably setting up Damian and Priest versus Finn and the Demon, a tag team match, as Michael Hamflett suggested.
How does this factor into the lore of the Fiend?
Oh.
What if we got Swamp Master? What was the video we found on? It was like a YouTube video someone had made of Swamp Master Bray Wyatt versus the Fiend. What are we on about?
Maybe if you go in the Rage Room, you'll meet the Fiend. Control your narrative, guys.
Damian Priest is turned heel. There we go.
Damian Priest is turned heel for Balor's United States champion. Should we move on to Twitter questions rapidly?
I love the Fiend.
Every day.
You did it first.
I said. Me.
The fucking Fiend.
Twitter questions. Who's editing this?
Say it.
Flipping Fiend.
There we go. Nicholas is editing, so.
I'm so sorry, mate.
Sorry, Nicholas.
For him, not for me. Well, I am sorry for me, but for different reasons.
Sorry for the Fiend.
At WhatCulture WWE, if you want to get in touch with us on Twitter. Eddie Zamhari starts us off, who says, hey guys, with there being one spot on the Face of the Revolution match, do you think it's a perfect time for Shane Swerve Strickland to make a debut.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's going to be, if it's not Strickland, I think it's going to be Cesaro. Claudio Castagnoli. I think it's going to be a debutant. They did this with Ethan Page last year in the same match. Was it the same match, or am I making that up?
No, I think you're right.
It was the same match.
They just stupidly built it up far too much.
Yeah, and it was Ethan Page. It was like, oh, cool, I like Ethan Page, but...
Wish you hadn't made me think it was CM Punk.
Yeah, you silly sausages. But yeah, I think they'll go down this route. Whether that means somebody shows up on TV this week and confirms it, or if it's a surprise on the night of the pay-per-view, that'll be cool. But yes, I would say it's going to be Swerve or Cesaro. Take your pick. Both would be awesome. I love both of those guys, and I hope they do well.
I think the way it's going, so you've got, just cut this straight, you've got Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy. There's only one final name, Fuego del Sol.
There you go.
Because it's slowly getting smaller by the sounds of things.
What about Fuego 2? We haven't seen him in a while.
Indeed.
What about Infinito?
I would like it to be Swerve, though. And
yes.
Yeah, maybe. I saw someone, I haven't got the question here, actually, but I saw some people talking about Cesaro maybe going off and just making us be able to see him on all the indie shows.
That was Eric Bischoff, and he's mental.
Oh.
So, you know. Well, I mean, it's a good idea.
I want to see him in AEW eventually.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you bring, because he ain't winning the Face of the Revolution ladder match, is he? It's Keith Lee's, presumably. But...
I would love to see Cesaro do a tour as well, but a tour of what exactly? It's like it's tough because like New Japan is opening up a little bit, but New Japan hasn't been very good for the past couple of years, even though the talent is obviously still there. And yeah, it's a valid point about AEW having kind of like a logjam of debuts and new people and everything else, but it's like the indies they're on the come up for sure. The indies,
absolutely.
But they're not quite what they used to be, I think it's fair.
No, I think it's fair to say there's only one place for him, and that's time for him to control his narrative, I think. Maybe he's going to be in the rage room, swinging people.
I'm going to turn this into a rage room. You control your chicken, guys. Big seasoning is after you.
Big seasoning. Is this real life?
Or is this... I don't know.
Will Ward gives us our second question of the day, saying, Morning Legends, do you think if they can't get Stone Cold for WrestleMania, they will go for KO versus JBL?
What? JBL?
Texas.
I did see that JBL was shooting out about KO.
I don't want to see him wrestle ever again.
Yeah, I would rather...
Or talk, or be on screen.
I would rather wash out my eyes with Vindaloo than watch JBL wrestle Kevin Owens at WrestleMania.
I mean, they've got Stone Cold, haven't they? There's no way that they've kept doing this with Kevin Owens without having Stone Cold locked.
Imagine if that was the payoff. You get to the pay-per-view, Kevin Owens is in the ring.
There'll be a riot if that happens.
Yeah. Oh, goodness, that's going to happen now, isn't it?
No, please no.
What if it's the Fiend?
What is the flipping Fiend?
The freaking Fiend.
Unknown gives us our final question of the day, saying, do you think that the addition of Slapjack and T-Bar... I wonder if that's full of COVID. Might be.
Well, we've just had it, mate.
I know, we're fine.
Antibodied up.
No one else touched that microphone. With the addition of both of them, and I saw yesterday Mia Yim and whatever a stupid member of... was called.
Retaliation?
Yeah.
Mercedes Martinez.
Retribution?
Mace.
What was it?
Queef.
What was the team even called? Retribution.
Revenge Gang.
Retribution, then there was Retaliation, then there was Recycling.
Reckoning.
Queef. And
Reciprocation.
Squirt, I think, was one of them as well. Anyway, they've put like both members, T-Bar and Slapjack and Mia Yim, and also her member from Retribution in 2K. Unknown says, is this desperation for characters to make it look full, or are they going to put in an attempt to draw like Machine Gun Kelly's DLC?
Yeah, there's loads of people who aren't in WWE who aren't in the game. Like people
I do feel a bit bad for 2K.
Yeah,
like, they aren't to know all of this.
Exactly. Like Buddy Murphy's in there. I don't know how to make video games. I don't know the processes. Unsurprisingly, that's why I'm here. So I don't know how easy it would be for them to just go, Buddy Murphy, delete other person who's not here. But there's loads of them. There's something like 6 AEW wrestlers in it. It's crazy. But I think it's just a consequence. When these games come out, they're always like 8-9 months behind the times.
Yeah.
So although Retribution ended in March 2021, So that's even longer.
You think it's hard?
What the hell are they doing?
You think it's hard making like FIFA, keeping up with all the transfers and stuff? At least they have like a window for that.
Exactly.
Wrestling is just like, no, 2 weeks before the game comes out, we're going to sack all of these people. Like, do you remember when they had the FIFA and they were like, okay, it's all about Cristiano Ronaldo and Real Madrid, and he goes to Juventus. He's what?
Yeah. Thanks for screwing our whole marketing up. It's mental.
I think it's just one of those things. I don't think it's them trying to make it look fuller. I think they could have made it with just the most basic roster ever and still had it. The game does actually look quite good. I'm quite excited to play this. It looks better than it was, I'll say that.
The marketing's been good.
Yes.
I'll give it that.
Yes, exactly. Right, let's move on to today's and finally. And I just saw this speech shared around.
Yes.
Room Rater at Rate My Skype Room has a new champion for the worst room ever. Congratulations to Dave Meltzer. Taking it away from, I believe, some American politician. No, not politician. Scientist or something. Larry Sabato.
A guy.
Regardless, he had a bit of a messy room. Welcome to Dave Meltzer's palace. Now, he claims it's all quite... It's like, it looks an absolute state. It looks, in the words of my mum, like a bomb's hit it.
Yes.
But he claims he knows where everything is. I call bollocks.
Yeah, I call bollocks too. Every single Mother Hubbard who has a scruffy, messy house and a messy office and a messy room where there's just crap piled up all over the place goes, yep, but I know where everything is. Nonsense. Cluttered mind, cluttered room, the two things are connected. Get a Google Drive.
Yes.
It's easy. It's simple. Yeah, Dave's office is legendarily just a complete shambles of a place. Fair play for having him just lacking the shame, just showing it on TV. Does not care at all.
Yeah, at least when we were at home during the pandemic, I'd have the graciousness to shoot from the back here when I was like up here in just, dirty clothes or whatever. Don't show it.
Yeah.
Don't just go, right, ready when you are.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to tidy back up there? Nah.
Look at my swamp.
Well, congratulations to record holder.
Shagger Dave.
Shagger Dave, congratulations,
It's been a while since
mate.
we called him that.
Indeed.
Doesn't shag anymore, presumably.
Probably because we walk into that room and go... Anyway,
See you later.
let's know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. For daily wrestling podcasts, we're going to review Monday Night Raw and look ahead to NXT a little bit later on today. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Haribo, Breakfast of Champions.
Oh, yeah, tang-fastic, ladies and gentlemen. Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.